We've started the same way 93 times in a row, so we might as well start with me saying, all right, welcome to the Handsome Hockey Podcast.
Is it really that consistent?
I think so, yeah. It's pretty high up there.
All right.
What I'll normally do, though, to change it up is I'll leave some of our pre-episode banter, and then I kick it, and it's almost always, all right.
And now we're in a very, meta discussion about we're, inceptioning the start of our podcast and the start of our podcast.
Well, we're going to have to take it deeper. And by deeper, we mean iced over.
Yeah. Still thawing out here in Portland.
Oh.
Got to get you with the weather report. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It was shitty.
It was very, very shitty. And I missed most of it because I went to Florida. Yeah. But then I came back and it was like, oh, yeah, you guys have been dealing with this for how long? Holy shit.
A while.
Just cars going off the road. Thank God I got picked up by a Prius, which is surprisingly heavy.
Yeah.
Thanks to that big battery thing. No, actually, they're pretty good in snow and ice because of that. And I think they have sort of 4 different motors. I don't know.
Yeah.
I digress. But there were a lot of people still spinning off the road my way back from the airport, and then I just did nothing for 2 days.
That's because people in Oregon in general, but Portland for sure, just have no idea how to drive at all.
That is one thing. But this was this would have shut down fucking Chicago if it happened in Chicago. You get that much ice, I don't know if they could have adequately salted it all. I'm very curious.
The people there are salty though. They just lay down on the sidewalk and they're like, we're good. Give me 6 minutes. I'll have a clear sidewalk.
Just all of that beef juice sweat just melts the snow, and you have large men doing snow angels in the sidewalks. That's Chicago's actual snow clearing.
It's how they just put real human representation of the super fans on the front of the L and just let them plow the tracks.
Yeah, just the heat off gas from their heart attacks just shocks the tracks into oblivion. Actually, I think that's sort of a famous thing too, is they set the tracks on fire in Chicago.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
fun.
I
think it's interchanges. They have, they just douse it in. It's not like gasoline, but it's something that burns
very hot
enough, but is not hot enough to get out of control. I think I'm not sure what they actually burn.
Human meat.
I kind of feel like it's it's what those alcohol candles have.
It's very bold for an entire city that burned down to
right
deliberately set things on fire.
I think that's just a train thing anywhere it's cold, but I think the L being exposed makes that more necessary.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Exposed. We're not even talking about fake AI nudes. We're talking about the weather in Portland still. By the way, I'm Jake, and sitting across from me is...
This is Evan, your angry manlet.
Oh, that should be on your portfolio.
Mm-hmm. It's actually going to be my true salutation. I've gotten all of those certifications to be ANGRI and then MANLET.
LEET.
Yeah.
You're
manlet.
Manlet certified.
Not a manlet, I'm manlet. Get on my level.
That sounds like something The Rock would say.
But yeah, literally people are ice skating in Portland, Oregon.
On the streets.
On the streets, in backyards. I did not know that level of ice had come down, but yeah, Sean was skating in his backyard. Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it because it was cold and I didn't want to go outside, but I finally went outside and I looked across, and the Salvation Army soccer field that's just by my house was this pristine sheet of ice.
Really?
But the melt was already started, so I knew if I went over there, it would just crack through. Yeah. I was so disappointed in myself. Next time.
Yeah, next time we get this historic weather event, I hope to be around for more of it. Although, no, actually being in Miami and Miami Beach was better.
Probably pretty great, yeah.
Yeah, I got to be in the Art Deco hotels, the famous Art Deco hotels from like, I tell most millennials Grand Theft Auto Vice City, but
it works.
Yeah, some people have actually been there.
Also, like Scarface.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, lots of other mob movies. It was really cool because they like shut down the front like drive along the ocean, and they had some sort of like Art Deco fest going on. And so it was just walkable urbanism. And boy, is there anything that Americans will pay for on vacation but not allow next to them is walkable urbanism.
I paid to get away from this.
Yeah, right. I would not want this where I live. You're going to say we're pretty spoiled for that in Portland?
Yeah. I can walk fucking anywhere.
Yeah, it is one of the things that we have going on in this lovely, dirty city.
And everywhere we go, a bar.
Yeah.
I can go in there and get food and beer. Hooray.
Yeah, it's like Wisconsin, but in a city.
Yeah. Sometimes Portland is magnificent.
Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Speaking of not magnificent, 2018 Canada World Junior Championship team, facing the music a little bit more. So a couple of weeks back now, the London, Ontario police issued 5 basically arrest warrants that remain sealed for 5 members of that U18 team.
Yeah, they basically like were that like high school person that went around and gave like a slip to the teacher and says, "Okay, you need to be seen in the dean's office. You're about to get in trouble. Just you got to come at the end of the period."
Since this kind of summons, Alex Formenton has turned himself in to London, Ontario police.
Which is, he's kind of been the name that everyone has been attaching to this for a while. So it makes sense that like he's the first one in to me.
Well, also he was coming from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is coming from North America.
Yeah.
In theory.
Kind of strange seeing, I don't know, someone like turn themselves in before the deadline, but I'm also a person that just waits till deadlines. Like I gotta like force myself to do shit.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what deadlines are for.
Right. So
I should get this done now.
When that deadline is like around your freedom, it's a little bit interesting to see him just up and turn himself in right away. Yeah. Unless he gonna rat on everybody.
There is that. Or maybe he like already had his 25th hour moment.
Now this is becoming a police procedural instead of like a whodunit.
If you were on the internet in the last, was it 2 years or so that this has been kind of public knowledge, you probably know who the alleged primary players are in this. If you didn't, it's kind of also easy to read the tea leaves when 5 members of, 4 members of this team were just before this announcement came out, put on leave of absence from their NHL teams.
You didn't need to read the tea leaves. You could just read the leaves of absence.
Yeah. Oh, I missed you, buddy.
I missed you too.
So, with keeping in mind that all of these are still allegations, Michael McLeod, Cal Foote, Dylan Dubé, and Carter Hart have all gone on an indeterminate leave of absence from their NHL teams. And all of those gentlemen, maybe not gentlemen, all of those guys were members of that 2018 team. So,
yeah. It's interesting because it's a little bit different of the list that has been supposed for quite some time, I think. I think there are some players that were kind of assumed to be in the 5, I think because of some like circumstantial photographs and stuff that people had sort of armchair sleuthed their way to. And like, I think a lot of people were right to not put a whole lot of stock in that because I don't think that there are any common players, if I'm not mistaken. Or it seemed like that was sort of a swing and a miss. And now the players that we've seen go on leaves and turn themselves in. I mean, I think Formenton was always sort of...
When a promising young forward doesn't get a contract signed right after a massive scandal comes out, you can kind of, the writing's on the wall there. Carter Hart was kind of talked about quite a bit in that internet scuttlebutt. But like Michael McLeod and Cal Foote, and Dylan Dubé, I hadn't really heard much about. There was there was talks about like Maxime Comtois, and then he didn't get an NHL contract this year, and so people were like, "Oh, he's clearly one of the problem players," but nothing has come of that as of yet. But also a lot of people put Victor Mete in that lineup, and he was like, "I wasn't even in the country.
Yeah,
I was on vacation."
And assuming that everyone who hasn't been accused has been fully cooperative. I mean, it would be interesting to see if there gets to be some sort of like, I don't know, witness intimidation or like secondary charges filed. Like they have all of the people coming in, and I'm wondering if that is all of the people that have taken leave. Like, there's a chance that may not be a 1-to-1.
Well, the initial report was 8, and we've gotten 5. So obviously that could be just the people that they were able to get enough evidence to charge. The initial number could be wrong.
Right. And like who's being charged and who's a witness at this point.
Yeah. Although if you were there, you should go to jail. Well,
I mean, witness who is being charged lesser.
Yeah.
In exchange for witnessing. I'm sure that there are a lot of people that knew more or witnessed it then that wished they had gotten out of it sooner if they didn't.
Yeah. I hope, this is as graphic and awful as this story has been thus far. It's about to get way worse. And
we're about to face a reckoning.
Hopefully. And the London, Ontario police have said that they will hold a press conference, I believe, on the 5th of February to kind of discuss details, whether or not they actually name names at that point. If everybody turns themselves in, I mean, we'll know at that point, right?
Yeah, so that's a week from today. Which is... That's crazy, and like, what a spectacle that's got to be. Like, everybody from the hockey media... all of the, natural crime reporting that would always be there. Like,
I mean, it's going to be the biggest story in Canada for days.
At least one hopes, because goddamn, this needs to just be hashed out in full, and the people need to face consequences just for the integrity of the game. Like, people need to trust hockey again. And one of the biggest ways to get them to do that is to get real reckoning in this scenario. The word out of the accusers, the word out of the accusers camp is that she's prepared to testify in full in court. I would sort of assume we're going to go closed courtroom.
I hope so.
Well, I don't know anything about Canada's laws either
on
that
sure.
At this point.
I mean, I barely know anything about America's laws, let alone Canada's. I do hope for this woman's sake that her identity is at least kept secret as long as possible.
I mean, I bet like that's all they have in Canada is kind of what I was going to say. Yeah. Can you imagine an open courtroom in Canada? Just like in general? So we have the Honorable Judge Smith here with us today. Oh, sorry, you're running a little bit late. You all go ahead and sit down.
Yeah.
Oh, hear ye.
Oh, we kept it warm for you. Sorry about that. It was a little chilly this morning. Cranked the heat up a little bit for you. Now we're just gonna proceed with the hearing here. Oh, here comes that judge. Hey, Judge Smith, how you doing? Oh, hey there. This court is in session.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's hard to like superimpose the American police procedural on Canada and like not just kind of laugh. But
it's one of the things we're most famous for is bad Canadian impressions.
Yeah. Back to the serious shit. We're going to get more in, a week-ish. No doubt there are tons of reporters camped outside of the London, Ontario police station, and we'll probably see these guys trickle in throughout the week, would be my guess. Unless they, act like architects in the deadline and they're like 5 minutes before.
Or, me in grad school. Should we move on to like better things?
Well, the NHL wishes you would move on to better things, because it seemed like 5 minutes after this Team Canada stuff came out, the NHL through the Smith Entertainment Group, or SEG, said, quick, look over here. We might get a team in Salt Lake City. Don't think about that other sad thing.
Yeah. What sad thing? See, we win. I think, so the ownership of the Jazz want to bring hockey to the greater Mormon Valley. And, that's great. I think.
Yeah. The Jazz are struggling right now, so maybe they just need something else to focus on.
So we're at 32 teams right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
34 just doesn't fit as evenly.
No, mathematically speaking, it does not. 36 is a whole lot more divisible, but yeah, everyone just keeps saying, move Arizona somewhere. Why do we need another, why do we need 2 expansions?
And also, if there's 36 teams, like the skill is so diluted that you and I might be playing for a team. Like,
I might get there, but also
there's just not that many hockey players. And 36 teams sounds absurd.
Yeah, but imagine the Atlanta Hotlanta.
No, they should just be called Hotlanta. Like we're not just like the Blackhawks' new name should be Chirac.
No, they're the Chicago Bedards.
The maligned and wounded Bedards.
The Bedards with the broken jaw.
Yeah. That sounds like a song by an emo band.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, people are like trying to bring emo back, so I'm sure there's some.
Oh, it's already back, dude. My one of my favorite music publications, Brooklyn Vegan, just like loves that emo is back. And you know what? I'm here for it.
Yeah, you would never guess that you would want emo to return. That's how my dad feels about disco. But yeah, if you've been...
What about we could combine those and just go with Panic at the Disco?
You could. So have you been following the whole like Bedard can't stay off the ice thing?
No. It's
kind of a funny little mini saga. And I think like Chicago PR ploy to just keep him in the headlines somehow.
At least somebody's marketing a fucking NHL player.
Yeah. But apparently he won't stay off the ice. And so they're like, well, fine. You have to wear a helmet and you can only be on the ice by yourself. You can't be on the ice when anyone else is on. And so he's been like skating before and then like after practices, and like Nick Foligno's like making fun of him and shit.
Good. He doesn't have anything better to do.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
I think the kids learned about Fortnite. Like that'll derail your career. He's got to keep skating. Brendan Gallagher, famed comedian and also hockey player, took his sledge-o-matic to another player's head recently.
Yeah, A, sort of didn't realize he was still playing for that team, and B, that was very blatant.
Yes.
I don't know how the hell he only got a phone hearing and five games randomly from the Wheel of Justice for like coming across the ice and getting someone in the head with an elbow. Like, also, how was he a first-time offender?
That's my real question is, have we not seen this before?
I think not a head hit, but him being a dirtbag of a player, yes. I mean, I kind of like the dude because he's...
Yeah.
What was it? He did something funny. I think when his like house got robbed or something, he like did a very funny like.
Oh, he was like eating a
it.
sandwich.
Yeah. And he's always been a good interview too, but yeah, he needed 5 or more than 5 games for this, I think. I mean, maybe not a lot more than 5 games. I thought it was more like a 10 spot, but
David Perron got 6 games for cross-checking somebody in the face.
Yeah, it
like
that seems very right. Then that's like the last time we, have talked about the justiceometer. Like it seems rather broken. People with obvious biases against other teams should not be because they were players, should not be deciding who gets big suspensions in this day and age.
And also maybe like codify that shit.
Yeah. Don't coddle.
Yeah.
Don't coddleify.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jamie Ben's running around doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Has he done anything bad since?
He cross-checks people in the neck all the time. No, he's done it twice this season already.
Okay, that was a legitimate question.
Yeah, it's his key move, other than like not going down.
There's our requisite Jamie Benn joke for the episode. Yeah, it seems very silly that you're going to talk about, trying to protect players and cleaning up the game and then allow some shit like this. It's not even like Brendan Gallagher's important. You can sit him down for 7 games and no one would notice. Except for the AHL player that gets to play for Montreal.
Yeah, somebody comes up from Laval and gets to play for the big team. Or like an extremely deep fantasy league.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Silliness. We get to talk about something else for the first time.
Suspensions.
Yeah, the Wheel of Justice got spun in the PWHL. And one would arguably say I would say it's more effective. Some people would say it's more controversial. But Taylor Winchowski was suspended for 1 game for a hit to the head of Amanda Boulier in sort of like it looked to be sort of like a face-up charge on how I would read it.
Yeah, it didn't look... Well, first off, it didn't look nearly as menacing as Brendan Gallagher's.
No.
Clearly a suspendable offense, I think.
Yeah, she was given a 2-minute penalty on the ice. And, going back and saying that's not enough for that hit is reasonable. A whole lot of people wanted a whole lot more.
Yeah, the PWHL is... or has been thus far notably more physical than the women's game has been in the past, unless you watch the US and Canada play.
And I'm the meme of Childish Gambino going, good.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Like, the physicality has been so good. But you got to get it right. And this is something that I think, will help to maybe turn the dirtier hits down. We've seen a couple good flips, we've seen a couple good layouts, and in a team that is, or a league that is ostensibly non-checking. It's good to see for the fans. It's fun to see. It's clear that the players are going all out and they have a professional mindset. And so I think that's one of the things that comes across. But yeah, poor Taylor gets to be the first victim.
The patsy.
Right. Yeah.
The fall woman.
We're sorry. We had to make an example out of you.
In other PWHL news, or like pseudo news, cities are already kind of clamoring for expansion for the PWHL. First and foremost, Pittsburgh is basically getting themselves ready to have a franchise.
Basically because of the hitting.
Well, yeah, steel curtain and all that. the Pittsburgh franchise is NHL franchise, so the Pittsburgh Penguins. I guess I could have just said the Penguins, but anyways, the Penguins franchise, owned by the Fenway Sports Group, is looking at several locations for potential women's stadiums, including where the Penguins play. I forget the name of it now. Is it PNC Arena or something? No, that's where the Hurricanes play. I don't remember. Anyways,
one of those banks that used to exist in both places.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see them putting so much behind this so early when they know that it's not going to happen for a little bit and it's not technically on the table.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised it's happening out of Pittsburgh and not out of like a Detroit or a Chicago or any original 6 NHL city. I would kind of expect it from. So good for them.
Well, Pittsburgh, to their credit, was considered one of the cities considered for an initial franchise. They ended up not getting one, and according to reports and a couple of articles I read, that was actually a big disappointment to them. They were ready to go.
Well, and like the Fenway Sports Group is, relatively new to owning the Penguins. And so they want to put their own stamp on it. And that's a really good way, is to bring a professional women's franchise to the city along with it. The city just like eats up sports like cheesesteak. So, oh wait, that's the wrong city.
Silly.
Fuck, God damn it.
Like
that city eats up sports like they do
fries on a sandwich, which is a wonderful decision. And like, more potatoes, please.
It is, yeah. They got to be like the right, like kind of on sandwich fry consistency.
They got to be shoestring. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got to be small, because otherwise you're just eating potatoes. The whole point is you're eating potatoes, but also the sandwich.
I kind of like.
So you can't have the potatoes overwhelm it.
I kind of think like waffle fry patties could be kind of cool too, but
possibly, yeah. The true story, the only place I've ever had a Pittsburgh style sandwich, San Francisco.
Yeah, we used to have a place called the Fat Sandwich Company in undergrad. And their shit was ridiculous.
Well, you name yourselves the Fat Sandwich Company, you have to be ridiculous.
Yeah, they like
can't be half-assing stuff.
The Fat Sandwich Company, one of their more famous sandwiches is called the Fat MILF, which is a cheesesteak on which placed chicken fingers, bacon, mozzarella sticks, mayo, and ketchup on a roll. How are those just things that your mom microwaved for you or something? Like, how did you get MILF from all of those ingredients?
To each their own, I guess. Honestly, that doesn't even sound good.
They actually, that was sort of the surprising thing, is there were some of these that were fucking good.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because it's things, you're just putting fat and cheese and various forms of protein on a sandwich, and like, you're a drunk undergrad and you don't know anything better.
You could put pork on like a horse corpse and I'd probably eat it. Like,
did you suddenly become a vulture?
I am a carrion bird. Yes. I did just watch. I did just go see The Lion King, and there are vultures in that, so maybe that's it. Also in PWHL news, maybe the biggest news. PWHL Puck Doku is live.
Live meaning once a week from your friends at Puck Doku, but it's really awesome to see. These are the things that help educate fans about new leagues and where their players are, and like, it's fun and we love to see it.
Yeah, it's actually helping me memorize rosters, which is nice.
Yeah, we can, thanks to Puck Doku, we'll be able to talk so much more competently about women's hockey in the near future. And I bet soon I will be better at that Puck Doku than regular Puck Doku.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The only thing you won't have to fall back on, the percentages will be kind of high, I think, for some of them in Puck Doku or in women's Puck Doku.
For sure, yeah.
Because, you can't pull out some dude who played one game for the Red Wings and then 8 years for the Rangers in 1953.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was already a high percentage guy in Puck Doku anyway, so I'm not even going to not even going to pretend to talk. You know who else is a high percentage guy in puck doku? Is fucking Corey Perry.
He's played everywhere.
Played everywhere, man. He's been everywhere, man. He's been everywhere. He has signed in Edmonton.
Well, name a more iconic pair than Ken Holland and overaged veterans.
Yeah, that's for real. This time it might actually make some sense. Corey Perry was effective for the Blackhawks, playing kind of up their roster. So, you know, it makes sense to get him at a much discounted price because he did something drunk that you don't know about. Except you probably totally know about it. You just still can't tell anybody.
I'm sure. Well, I think it was John Scott kind of hinted on his podcast that it was like drunkenly made a pass at a female staffer
for NBC Sports, which is like interesting because like to get cut and not fight that had to be one hell of a pass.
Yeah, it had to have been more than just a pass. Like,
exactly.
I'm not saying assault or anything of that nature, but like it had to have made somebody very uncomfortable for that level. Like,
right.
A canceling of a union-backed contract is actually quite rare in professional sports.
Yeah, several $1 million, and he still has yet to try and claw any of it back and also like he would be one of the first people to deal with something like this and not file a grievance just like automatically. Like that's the crazy part of it. So
in a way, like I never thought I'd say these two words in a sentence together, but Corey Perry has taken this honorably. In the aftermath, like he has owned up, his apology felt extremely heartfelt. Most of these, they feel like they're a PR stunt, and I thought his was actually, well done, I guess, as far as PR, or as long as press releases go.
Yeah, one gets the sense that he was liked and being made a deal, and has been doing that. He did what he did to get silence, I guess. Kind of like it felt like some shit out of Ozark.
Well,
like we're laundering money in the back room. We can't make any noise.
Yeah. Well, like any other professional sports league, and we wouldn't have known exactly what happened. Like we knew that Draymond Green had punched Jordan Poole within like 30 seconds of it happening.
Yeah. Also, that was at practice,
sure,
and
but like any other league, this shit would have leaked out.
Well, nobody's videotaping a random.
They are now. Like,
yeah, someone is.
If Corey Perry's there, there's videotape going on.
Kyle Davidson is like now at every like social event. It's like, Kyle, why are you here 45 minutes early? He's like, well, I got to place my nanny cams.
I got $6,000 in ring cams in my trunk. I got to get them out.
I mean, knowing Kyle from Chicago and all of his youthfulness, he probably just says drone.
Yeah.
He's probably just like, okay, got to set up the drone.
People
why is there a drone here? Oh, it's just for marketing purposes.
We're just adding to the ambiance. Nobody likes the ambiance of a drone. No, it's ambiance. Everybody likes drones. You leave me alone.
It's totally not focusing on fourth line wingers.
On Corey Perry, yeah.
It's totally not now following Nick Foligno. Corey
Perry did request and was granted an appointment or a meeting with Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman made the point that he had not been barred from playing in the NHL in any way, but that Corey Perry had asked for the meeting himself. And I again, no idea, or I mean, we have some idea, but the severity of it, right? We don't really know
how actually distasteful it was. We don't know. One assumes it was distasteful, but just how distasteful, we may not ever know at this point. If it hasn't come out by now.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing: like, it was obviously bad, right? But it wasn't so bad that he didn't like almost immediately get a contract. And Gary Bettman knows what happened, and he said. And granted, Gary Bettman is not some like arbiter of morality in any way, shape, or form, despite wearing the pants for it. But like, if he knew what had happened, if it was severe enough to where criminal charges could be pressed or great harm was done, it feels like Corey Perry wouldn't be back in the league this quick.
Yeah, it seems like a relatively small amount of people knew, and Chicago took the steps they needed to take. Yeah, in the short term, Corey Perry might help Edmonton in their goals, but it sort of looks like they don't really need his help right now, considering they just rattled off 16 straight wins. In case you're wondering, the modern record is 17, and they're going to go for tying it on February 6th, anticlimactically after the All-Star break. Or also, maybe this is good, like good timing. Like, hey, we're going to do a 2-part episode, and you got to watch next week.
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2, if you will. They're going to play Vegas for their 17th tying win. So it's not going to be easy, although Vegas has been...
They're banged up.
Banged up and playing like shit. So...
Yeah, I think they have Shea Theodore and Jack Eichel and like...
Theodore's been out for a long time.
At least 2 or 3 other guys.
I'm not sure he's coming back this year.
Well, they played the Wings last week, and the injury report there was like they were hoping by the end of February. So yeah, it's not going to be an easy fight for that 17th win, which good.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we got a back-to-back against Chicago. Cool.
Right. You actually they got to do this the right way. We got to defeat a true boss if you're going to get that or tie that title. I mean, who knows? Maybe the next game is against like San Jose or some shit.
Yeah, I was going to say like
funny.
Game 18 is against Ganondorf. And so but sorry.
I mean, when I think boss battle, that's who I think.
Yeah. But thank God it's not like, well, I mean, losing to San Jose already cost him a coach. So,
yeah, that's true. That would be full circle, would it not?
Yeah.
If they came back and were like, no, actually, we're good now.
This is how we set the record.
That would be pure poetry.
Jay Woodcroft is somewhere just crying.
Yeah. And San Jose's coaching staff's like, comes across and like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I got you a job, motherfucker.
We did that for you.
And then Connor McDavid comes past and says, no, actually, I got you the fucking job.
Speaking of coaching changes, Patrick Waugh is back in the NHL.
Yeah. That was really confusing to see because you sort of remembered him being like one of the last pieces jettisoned before Colorado got good.
Yeah.
But apparently he's been good in juniors for a while.
He's been the general manager and coach of the Quebec Ramparts for, I think 5 years now. He did win a title there. He also did famously get kicked out of the same game as his son, both for fighting.
Which, I mean, if there's going to be something that engenders you to Lou Lamoriello, it's that kind of shit.
Patrick Waugh is probably the only person not afraid to yell at Lou Lamoriello. But that's because either Patrick Waugh has like some sort of voice modulation disease or he just really likes to yell.
Yeah. The Islanders have made one of the more interesting moves, I would say, in their recent past.
It's the only interesting move in their recent past.
Right, yeah. Instead of signing a 37-year-old winger, we're going to sign like a 51-year-old coach. It's interesting because you know that Patrick Waugh is all of the things you've seen over the course of his career. He's brilliant. He's crazy. He's either a crazy interview or a gold interview, or he's all over the map. I don't know. I'm kind of happy about it. I think it's exciting and fun and just adds drama.
For us, it's great. For the league, I mean, it probably ramps things up. Of note, as of this recording, Patrick Waugh hasn't won a game as the head coach of the Islanders.
Sure,
including
but like,
losing in Montreal.
Yeah, but what's he going to do, right? Like, there's not much more that team can really be.
They're bad.
They are bad. They're a bad roster. I don't know.
They have quite possibly the best goalie in the league, and they have a negative goal differential.
Well, he's been like not a world beater this year, and that's the issue. And I think that's one of the reasons that they turned to a Hall of Fame goalie coach, is to just some weird way try and spur better play from like a guy who's been an all-world goalie for a long time in Igor Shesterkin.
I mean, that should only help having Patrick Waugh behind the bench. But at the same time, what if the Islanders hire a goalie coach? I'd be like, no, Patrick, you're doing this. Sorry, bitch.
Or sorry, I said Shesterkin. What?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we're trading one Russian goalie for another.
Right.
Sorokin.
Sorokin. Fuck. Is this name still Igor?
Ilya
Sorokin. Now you can
Ilya, Igor, and Ivan, the three I names of Russia.
You can just copy paste me saying that over.
It'll be like, and he's got like Ilya Sorokin on his lineup, and like, I'm gonna leave.
You have reached Ilya Sorokin.
I'm leaving all this in.
You have those like dichotomies of things that like you just switch for one another. Like East versus West, Sorokin, Shesterkin. Tomato. That's just a feature of ADD.
You say tomato, I say fuck you. If we want to connect the dots here, back to the Avalanche before we move on, I almost guarantee that Patrick Waugh's actual real last name is Roy, but he just like at one point started telling people it was Waugh, and he was really good at hockey, so people were like, yeah, sure, Patrick, whatever you say, and he's like, he's Waugh.
But now he's seen Succession, and so he wants it to be Roy again.
Yeah, this asshole changed his own name, just the pronunciation though. Like his parents are like, no, we're the Roys, and he's like, we are the Waz. You're like,
that would be
Patrick, we're from Moose Jaw.
Like Patrick was just a Quebecophile. He ever from a young childhood, Alberta. He just always really wanted to be a Quebecophile.
They're like, yeah, sure, Roy. He's Wah. That's my impersonation of Patrick Waugh. This whole segment is born out of the long-standing hatred of pretty much anybody who played on those Avs teams. But Patrick Waugh, what a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I liked those Avs teams, but I see why you wouldn't.
Well, you're a neutral observer.
Yeah, but
I'm on one side of the hate.
Well, it was the hate that was exciting back in the day. And so like I didn't hate the Red Wings. I just loved the intensity of that rivalry.
Yeah. And
kind of liked the, Waugh, Sakic, Forsberg, and then, Ray Bork story.
Yeah. I beat up a kid at a hockey camp for wearing a Avalanche jersey to one of the days.
Surprised Patrick Waugh didn't come and fucking find you.
He was like, how dare you take out Patrick Waugh? I'll never be able to recreate this voice for another episode, but it's pretty good.
I just think of Patrick Waugh as like, I'll find you.
I'll find you. We need to talk about Patrick Waugh for like the rest of the podcast now, like every episode from here on out. Be like,
Waugh, Pourquoi.
Oh, and Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Pourquoi.
Speaking of the Avalanche, sad news. Val Nichushkin has checked himself into the NHLPA assistance program.
Reportedly, he needs assistance finding Russian hookers in and around the Denver area.
You don't need assistance for doing that. I think the writing was probably on the wall that he needed some help after that incident.
Considering it's the incident that somehow has gotten memory hold and nothing came of
at all,
which is crazy.
Yeah, it's like the time that kid from my hometown killed a girl or killed an old man in Italy, and like you Google that shit and you can find almost nothing about it now.
Wow.
And it's like shit from like that shouldn't disappear from the internet, but Val Nichushkin's exploits in a hotel room last year definitely did.
Well, a hotel lobby, and it was him booking it, and then an ambulance like arriving and attending to a very distraught, Russian woman who we don't really know under what circumstances she was there.
Well, he went from the hotel lobby to the after party.
I mean, I think he went from the hotel lobby to like a Colorado Avalanche safe house somewhere.
Yeah. It's actually Patrick Bass' house.
Like Joe Sakic just has a boat for this.
It was like the boat scene in True Detective where they make him watch the videotape. Anyways, that's True Detective season 1. I know season 4 is out, but anyways, hopefully, obviously, we're hoping for the best for Val Nichushkin. Yeah. He's a hell of a hockey player, but he obviously, has some demons that he feels like he needs to slay, and is getting some professional help for that. That's amazing. It is really, and we're going to talk about somebody else here in a second, but it's really great to see, especially NHL players who, the NHL is notoriously antagonistic to this sort of like modern mental health mentality. And they're like, this is the 1950s and I only talk about football and hating people of color. Like that's really all the hockey culture does.
Are you just like AM sports talk radio there?
Sure. Yeah. But so here, like we're seeing, and not just young players. Like, I mean, Nichushkin's not old, but he's not 19, right?
Sure. I mean, I got to say I'm a little suspect when it's a player like him entering it, like along with like Corey Perry entering it. Like, is this just some kind of image laundering step more than I need assistance? Like when someone like Spencer Knight enters the player assistance program, you're like, yeah, you are dealing with some real shit here. And, I more than believe that about like Patrick Laine as well. But like when Nichushkin or Corey Perry are entering it after an incident, you do become a little wary, I suppose.
I would say sometimes you need that incident to wake you up.
Yeah.
Obviously, Val Nichushkin played hockey for like the better part of the season already, but
yeah, rock bottom for him was not this incident.
Yeah, but
maybe PR rock bottom.
Maybe something else happened that we don't know about. Like
sure, and same with Corey Perry. Like it's a double-edged sword, I would say.
Evan hinted at this, but Patrick Laine has also entered the player assistance program. Hopefully, the assistance program is not also in Columbus, so he can get away. Yeah,
we would really rather that he just be somewhere else to heal him from whatever in Columbus is destroying his love of hockey. It might just be the city of Columbus, but like when someone who is fun stops being fun and then enters the player assistance program, that tracks. Like, and he put out a statement, making it seem like it's very much leaning mental health for reasons. And yeah, man, if I was where you are in your career right now, I would also probably have a lot of stress. So,
100%. Like you sign the contract, you hope to play up to the level of the contract you get, but also like just, I think the stress and grind of being a professional athlete is probably, I mean, obviously something I'll never fully comprehend.
Well, and he also he got drafted into Winnipeg and then traded into American Winnipeg.
Less snow, more death.
Right. The dude just needs another change of scenery is what he needs, but he's never been good enough to be tradable from that team, it seems like.
For what Columbus gave up, which, I mean, obviously PLD not looking all that great as of right now.
For sure. And, I mean, they definitely got the better player in that deal. It seems like, holy shit, his PLD just evaporated.
He's not even a playable skater at this point.
No, he's like the closest thing to vaporware a hockey has ever had.
Also, vaporware. Pittsburgh's power play has been, despite being quarterbacked by Chris Letang and or Erik Karlsson, has been dog shit.
That's not
all year.
They're not vaporware. That's like hilariously bad. That's like just epic fiery train wreck.
Yeah.
All year long. It's like how are these all world, likely more of them Hall of Famers than not?
They've got at least 4 current Hall of Famers on their team.
On that power play.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think they're all 5. I think Letang's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, who I was saying, so Crosby, Karlsson, Malkin, Letang.
And then
who's the 5th?
Gensel, maybe?
Gensel's not a Hall of Famer.
Maybe when he's done, but
maybe.
He's got a lot of hockey to play.
He's got a lot of hockey to play without being attached to Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, I mean, he'll need to have that Tom Brady second career success to cement that. But their story took a turn this week, and they had been in an upswing. They had been, scoring. Pittsburgh's been a little bit better.
They've been scoring much better on 5-on-5 for sure.
Sure, but they had a real bad moment on the man advantage, and they scored. But unfortunately, it was in their own net, and it's one of the funniest things you're ever going to see in just hockey anti-highlights. I encourage everyone to go seek it out and see the video because it is just pure silliness. Chris Letang makes a very dumb drop pass in his own zone. It seems like it's going wide of the net, even as stupid of a pass as it was. Malkin tries to corral it as he's coming around behind him, tips it a little bit, which sends it on a trajectory towards the net, and then he sort of like loses the handle. And it's just, you gotta play the like Curb Your Enthusiasm music right after that. It's just, it is that just feckless and hilarious. I'm so glad that we've gotten to see something so dumb out of these guys, because like it's hubris. Like you think that this is a good play because you're a all-pro hockey player, and even though you're on the declining end of your career, and then sometimes the shit just does not go your way.
To put in perspective how bad Pittsburgh's power play is, they're next to last in the league at 13.07%. The only team worse than them is Chicago, whose current power play unit is Nick Foligno, Philip Kurashev, Taylor Radish, Alex Vlasic, and Seth Jones. That's their power play. And Pittsburgh's has 4 Hall of Famers on it and is still just barely a little bit better.
Yeah, it's been kind of wild to see how shitty they've been on the power play this year. Boggles the mind, other than the fact that these guys are old. Like, that's the only thing. Like, even if you're old and you're that good, you should figure out a way to play together. Like, and if you watch them, they're all just like chicken shits. They're just moving around. They're not really doing anything. Nobody's kind of attacking. They're just kind of trying to make it up as they go along. And you can tell that they were just kind of given a blank check at the beginning of the season. And somebody said, hey, you guys will figure it out. You're all Hall of Famers. And
turns
out, no, no, you actually have to try. It's been very funny. Our heart goes out to Pittsburgh fans in this tough time for them. But yeah, your team scored on itself with an empty net. What do you mean, sort of? 15 guys, you could definitely skate faster.
Well, I mean, I can't personally.
I'm already skating as fast as I can. Man.
Go! So the year is 1999, and it's the summer. And you and I are young lads at this point.
Are we partying like it is 1999?
Yes, close. a song hits the airwaves, and his name is Cisco. He has once been part of the act Drew Hill. He steps out on his own, and he puts out a song, the Thong Song.
Yeah.
And people are going to immediately think that because somebody threw a thong onto the ice for Nate McKinnon's hat trick the other day, that it was a woman. I think Cisco was in attendance. And I bet you if you scan the crowd, you'll find his silver hair. Because what do hockey players have? Dumps like a truck. He was there. He loves hockey, and he is celebrating Nathan McKinnon with a shooting thongs like rubber bands over the glass. Because that dude's probably got money to afford close to the ice tickets too.
I hope whoever did it did that and shot it in such a way,
like a koosh ball,
a cooch ball, if you will.
I mean. I don't have a follow-up to that, actually.
Yeah, so the thongs and bras came out for Nathan McKinnon after he sped run a hat trick in 6 minutes and 37 seconds on the ice. The opposition, I think it was Florida, they made the classic mistake of leaving your opponent's best player uncovered repeatedly.
Yeah, not guarding Nathan McKinnon is probably a poor decision.
One of them, he just was all by himself low, and I mean with a bad angled shot, but he's like wide open and he just pockets it. The third goal, I think this is one of the funniest things, is someone was seen throwing their hat already before he had actually scored. They just saw how fucking open he was. And
in when Michigan beat Kansas in it was either the lead 8 or the Final 4, I think it was 2012, 13, something like that. I think it was 2013. Trey Burke goes up for this impossibly long 3-pointer, Steph Curry long 3-pointer.
Okay.
And Josh Bartlestein, who is basically a manager but was technically on the team, is out of his chair and jumping as Trey Burke is still shooting the shot. He was like, no, this one's good. And of course he drains it, and Bartlestein has already finished jumping and is fist pumping by the time the ball actually goes in the net. This is that.
There's a I think sort of hockey Twitter account, and it's pictures before something unfortunate happened.
Oh yeah.
And the account is Nathan McKinnon with the puck and nobody around him, and the goalie's just sliding over. And, the whole play was down in the corner, and then the puck squirts out to just a McKinnon breakaway.
Whoops.
So a woman was seen taking off her bra and chucking it on the ice, sort of like she was a first wave feminist, taking it off to remove it and burn it.
She set it on fire first?
Yeah. If only. Yeah. And she's just grinning and chucking her bra on the ice because she just didn't happen to have a hat. But somebody threw a thong, a real life human being propelled underwear onto the ice for a hat trick. And A, we need to commend whoever that person was. B, somewhere a video operator knows the truth.
Well, I mean, and it'll probably come out because there was the woman who flashed the caps when they won the cup. All of that stuff eventually comes out, right?
I think sometimes, I mean, if it's captured by independent media, if it's a video operator for the team, I don't know if that will come out. I would be very, very impressed if that made its way out. But the thing is, we don't even know where the thong is on the ice. Thong can't travel very far in the air. So, if you Zapruder film that shit, you could probably find out a lot. If it's Cisco, if it's not Cisco.
If it's not Cisco. So
Cisco had a box. Cisco had to make it down from the box and then throw it and then get back up.
I don't think he has box money. I think he's got near front row money though.
I mean,
at this point.
Yeah, he spent all the money.
Maybe he invested well. I don't know.
He spent all the money on auxiliary percussion tracks in the thong song, because if you listen to that thing in like really good headphones, it's crazy. There's like so much production in that fucking song.
Oh, I'm sure. What I want to know, Nathan McKinnon's a bit of a weirdo, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You think he kept the thong?
Do you think they like scooped it up with the hats and like it just ended up in the hat trick hat room?
That's a whole nother layer that I honestly did not even think about. And I now I'm more intrigued by that.
Like you kind of wish,
or like
on
McKinnon
some level,
intercepted it on the way to the hat room. Like
that. Lord knows if we were Nathan McKinnon, I kind of hope is that they were like stunt panties. Like someone just like had that to do something with. Cause like at what point, you know, like there's some like weirdo's version of a terrible towel.
Yeah. Or like maybe they were having like a medical thing and they like, you know what? I'll probably need another pair of underwear. Yeah. And then in like the thrall of the game, we're like, I need something to throw. And they looked at their significant other and were like, you're too heavy. I know.
The medical thing being somebody drank way too much beer and actually forgot to take off their underwear before urinating. Like, at what point does this person like take them off? You know,
it has to be a dress or a skirt of some sort, right?
Unless they like took them off like previously for some reason. Like that's like I was joking about, like they pissed on him or something.
I have so many questions.
Exactly. I have so many questions too. Like if someone took off a thong after he scores the third goal and then gets it onto the ice in that celebration, that's fucking fast. And that's impressive.
That's pro level.
Pro level.
Yeah. Maybe they were there for Val Nichushkin. Anyways, USA Hockey has decided to implement mandatory neck protection for all U18 players. Good. I made my significant other mad by, I was like ordering an undershirt for hockey. And she was like, buy the one with all the protection. I was like, it's like $200. She's like, I don't care. It'll save your life. I was like, maybe, and bought a cheap one. And now she's mad at me. So
those are things that will piss non-hockey wives off.
I shouldn't have said anything about it, but I was like debating which one to buy out loud. And I was like, or should I get the one with the protection? She's like, what do you mean the protection? And I went,
uh-oh.
Damn.
Yeah. You know, I mean, questions about protection are important between partners.
And this for me is big news. You know, I'm a Michigan grad, and the University of Michigan is exploring making their women's hockey program a Div 1 team.
Currently club level.
To which, fucking finally.
Yeah, it's something we've been harping on for a while now.
There's no Div 1 women's hockey team in the entire state of Michigan. Do you know how many hockey players there are there?
Crazy amounts.
Millions, I tell you. But
literally
like,
dozens.
Literally, well, there's enough for half a team. We're good. But so this is just something that should have happened probably a decade ago, but didn't. And, you know, rectify that wrong. This bit of optimism, one of the board members who has been a very vocal proponent of Title IX and change, and using the athletic department as a kind of a beacon for good, spoke out about how he is invested in bringing about finding the money to bring about a women's team, or to move the women's team to Div 1. And I think, you've got Ohio State winning championships. You got to counter that. And do they already have a massive athletic department? Yes. They're also one of the athletic departments that makes the most money year in, year out. They're one of the few athletic departments in the country that operates in the black. Like, just go do it. You've got the money. Stop it. Speaking of stop it, the All-Star game is stopping all fun hockey this weekend. And so we have to watch whatever baffling bullshit the NHL throws at us this year. Cool.
Yeah, they're at least like trying some different things with the format for the skills competition and other things. But they just announced the team captains for 4 teams, and it's a hockey player and some sort of celebrity Canadian. Why the United States got completely shut out of the Celebrity Pal roster was a little surprising, but
I think they're all Canadian, yeah?
That's what I said. Yeah,
But they did do the Hughes brothers.
And I get that it's in Toronto. But yeah, so your All-Star game captains will be Jack and Quinn Hughes, fused together with Michael Bublé, Connor McDavid and Will Arnett, Nathan McKinnon, along with Tate McRae, and then Austin Matthews and Justin Bieber. It's, I don't know, a decent smattering, I would say, generally. Interesting. They do a good job of getting Canadian talent alongside really good hockey players. Like, I think that this will help.
It's kind of upsetting that Nikita Kucherov is not a captain. One, he's second in points and is having a massive year, and 2, he's fun.
Maybe in the NHL's eyes, too fun.
Yeah. Well, you know what the NHL is then? Number 1 bullshit.
I mean, they kind of are already, but you just give them another reason. I like the Jack Quinn Hughes fuse team together. Are
they like Goku and Vegeta?
I call them you Hughes, you lose. Or another fake team name would be Haha Luke Suck It.
What about Fusion?
Fusion Overdrive. Yeah, I don't know. Michael Bublé, pretty unimpeachable. Between the, like, you're going to see like Jack Hughes look youthful, Quinn Hughes look sad, and then Michael Bublé look like a star who's used to being on stage. It's going to be very, very funny to see.
He will be the least awkward person in that grouping.
Oh yeah, no worries, no wonder about that. Like, Jack and Quinn Hughes are going to be fucking confused.
Well, if Jack even plays.
I hope so.
I think that's why it's Jack and Quinn Hughes. Because I don't think Jack is expected to play.
Maybe they just bring in Luke and, like, I don't know, go
He's
full...
like, hi, I'm a rookie.
I'm not even going to win the Calder. I'll be in the conversation. But I just, that would be a good photo bomb, if you will. Connor McDavid and Will Arnett, I think, is also funny. Like, think of that as BoJack on ice. Connor McDavid, like, doesn't need any help, looking sort of dejected and disheveled until they started winning all these games. But like, Will Arnett, easily the funniest out of all of the people, but he's like the sort of self-deprecating sort of humor. So, very interested to see how that dynamic works out,
because Connor McDavid doesn't have a personality.
And Will Arnett's personality, like, next to someone like Connor McDavid, I think is just a very, very strange energy.
I hope so.
Also strange energy, Nathan McKinnon and Tate McRae. This is maybe the funniest combination.
They should have made Cole Sillinger a All-Star game captain just for the side eye.
Yeah, just for the side eye. These two are likely workout warriors. I mean, we know how much of a workout warrior and fitness freak McKinnon is. I can only assume that Tate McRae is as well. She's got like professional dancer cred even before her singing career. I call them team recipe swap because McKinnon's getting some like cauliflower rice recipes from Tate, or like team cheat meal.
Can we talk about how bad cauliflower rice is?
I like it.
I think it's fucking terrible.
All right. I kind of like the cauliflower thing. I like cauliflower pizza crusts.
I knew you were going to say that. And I'm going to disagree with you there too.
I mean, they don't replace regular pizza crusts, but like,
I'm glad the option is there, but I'm glad I also don't have to eat it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if someone needs it, I'm more happy to eat.
Sure. Oh yeah,
side
for sure.
I don't know. Cauliflower is like, it's amazing. It's like the Brandon Hagel. Like you can put it anywhere. But yeah, I think, you know, if there's ever going to be like an NHL star and a non-NHL star that we're going to connect on something, it's going to be like high protein vegan eating.
They're probably going to, Nathan McKinnon will probably walk out and be like, hey, you work out? She'll be like, yeah, I work out. Cool.
Do you want to work out like together?
Want to like pick a hockey team? Sure.
Yeah, like I would not put it past them to like just go work out together. You know? Oh yeah, you want to see these lifts I do?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, compared to Austin Matthews and Justin Bieber, who just dress each other. Like,
yeah, that's
poorly.
Austin Matthews and Justin Bieber is like team we go shopping.
Yeah. Team I have 6 of this hat. Like
team I call them team just some normal bro friends chilling playing some chell.
They're just chilling.
They're just chilling.
Yeah.
Team like goes and gets like a fuzzy hat.
It's so many fuzzy hats and like small backpacks, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Like made of leather.
I think each of them have more small backpacks than Tate McRae does.
I think Tate McRae is a small backpack.
She might fit in one. I think she's pretty compact.
I haven't the slightest idea what that phrase means, but I was like, I'm just gonna go with it.
Are you can Silence of the Lambsing here now? You could be a small backpack with your beautiful skin.
Can you still hear the lambs, Clarice?
I didn't know you were that into industrial design.
Finally, a couple of things. Wayne Simmons has unofficially retired.
Yeah,
I proclaimed in one episode a year ago that he had retired, and that was not true.
Yeah, he said to somebody off the record, "Yeah, I'm not playing again." Yeah, did we eulogize him then, or shall we?
No, you were like, "No, he's still on the team," and I went, "Oh, whoops."
Oh yeah, he was
when
like
he took the kid that Mitchell Miller abused out for a night in Toronto.
Yeah, and he was on IR or something,
yeah.
and
I was like, he's retired, and you're like, don't be a fucking idiot, Jake.
Well, I think the writing was on the wall then, but well, he has apparently let it slip that he's not coming back to play, and no one is surprised. But he was pretty fucking good for a little while as a power forward that you love to watch and love to hate if he was playing against your team.
Yeah, you didn't want to. If you got like the NHL package and you watched Philly play somebody that was other than your team, you're like, man, that guy's good and tough as nails.
Yeah.
If he was playing your team, you're like, fuck that guy.
Exactly. He was like fantasy relevant at Streaks.
Oh, during the peak of his powers, absolutely. Yeah,
especially if you had like a bangers league and had physical traits and as stats.
Absolutely.
He's done some really awesome things like you were talking about with, some more recently, he's been outspoken about some social issues and went through the effort of taking Isaiah Meyer Crothers to a game. He seems like a really cool dude, and, we wish him well in his professional afterlife. I'm sure he's got something interesting up his sleeve because he always seemed like a really kind of engaging guy off the ice as well.
In his non-retirement?
Yeah, in his unofficial retirement. And in professional milestones, happy 4,000.
We would be in the Major League Hall of Fames if those were hits.
They're listens, and we're happy to do this. We really have a good time putting out a podcast about all the hockey BS we want to talk about. But thanks for tuning in. And we've been getting more feedback and engagement from fans lately. So it's been really encouraging to get that. We love to hear from you. So anytime you want to drop us a line, if it's something dumb that you want us to reference on the podcast, or some other podcast you want to take put in front of our ears, or you want questions about this podcast, for example. Got some friends that have reached out and asked questions about, how we do what we do. So that's been fun to hear recently. Talk to us anytime. We're handsomehockey.com, Handsome Hockey Podcast on Instagram, Handsome Hockey on Threads, if you use that, Handsome Hockey on Twitter. We definitely use that. handsomehockeypod@gmail.com, and Handsome Hockey Facebook page, along with YouTube.
Yeah, definitely echo that sentiment. 4,000 listens is about 3,997 more than I ever thought we'd get. And that's without my mom ever listening to an episode. So I think we're doing pretty well. But yeah, thank you so much. This has been a blast. We laugh a lot. We commiserate about the shittiness of hockey culture, and hopefully you like listening to us. And if you're out there, stay handsome, everybody.
Restez beau, tout le monde.